not understand what Tyler Perry is doing. I don't fucking get it, but somebody loves that shit. I mean, shit, people love Lost and The Walking Dead. My theory that honest representations of black fictional identity tend to demonstrate more sophisticated acting technique. Then again, Spike Lee put himself in his own films an awful lot in the 90s, which makes sense to cut the budget or make out with Rosie Perez. I've been attempting to trace out the chiaroscuro of black identity in popular American culture. There is a Dinka tale of mortality, how a high god cut our coil connecting life and death when a greedy farmer wounded his eye with her hoe. Try unpacking that. I've tasted the flavor of MTV, and I don't think it was love. Call me crazy. I can only get with dear white people while I'm getting head. That's the only time it makes sense. Riddle me this. If Luke Cage is bulletproof, then why all those plot holes? Did soul food nourish you? How real are the husbands of Hollywood? Where's my Love Jones for love and basketball? Why didn't my heart beat for Kevin's Ebony Empire? Where am I located on the spectrum, channeling film and television upwards of 12 hours per day? I grew up in living color, but my favorite Wayans performance was in Requiem for a Dream. Kevin Spacey in 2000 was an American beauty, but his performance couldn't touch Marlon's. Go back, rewatch, and tell me different. The projections of Tinseltown, like some Luhia myth, a chameleon cursing us with death. Nobody told me death was so damn fine, quoth the poet Dante Smith. Roaming this land to witness his Brooklyn inferno. My Umi says, shine your light on the world, for the world to see, for black people to be free. Ad infinitum BET's shallow reflection, reminiscent of a compact mirror, occasionally captured fractals of our diasporic lineage. Then again, if there was an Academy Award for titles, I would have had to cast a vote for Black Snake Moan. Sure enough, bumping metal fingers on the way to catch the man with the iron fist, as opposed to episode 6 of the White Iron Fist, directed by Robert Diggs for Netflix. It seemed like RZA had hacked the galaxy. I was less sure what to think on my way out of the theater. Certain sources I only approach with skepticism, but music television struck a chord with hustle and flow. Every so often, hip-hop and cinema echoes my origin story as a master of ceremonies. I never really battle rap, but my crew felt the hunger of Marshall on the 8 Mile, straining to escape the shadow of obscurity. On Black Relativity, Overshadowing Narcissus. 2. Feather of Anubis. A declaration of innocence before 42 gods. Quote, I have not defiled a god. I have not worsened the lot of an orphan. I have not done what the gods detest. I have not calumniated a servant to his master. I have not caused either pain or hunger. I have not brought forth tears. I have not killed. I have not commanded to kill. I have not caused anyone sorrow. End quote. Book of Coming Forth by Day. Osiris stole Anubis' crown of death and left Anubis weighing truth against a feather as we, the living, walk our famished road. Shout out to Okri. Here I am watching Queen Sugar, contemplating the fabric of my existence. Summer light is on. Life is precious. Gabby Sidibe took Sapphire's story and ran with it. I could not figure out a reason to watch Precious. Some of those stories call me back to the spoken word era and our exploitation of tragedy. Who are these stories for? Am I missing something? I heard the media response to Push's film adaptation, and I'm all for Netflix and depression, but I've never had a friend suggest we watch the film. I did see Antoine Fisher. Certain films aren't optional. Denzel dipping back into an ancient well, raising his bucket from a deep pool illuminated by the sky. I heard a story about Amistad. Jimin Hunsu sitting somewhere on a curb in Paris, ashes to classy, from squalor to success, and I got mad love for Steve McQueen, but my friend said his movie killed her mom. "30 Rock" had a plotline where Tracy Jordan won an Oscar for his starring role in a film called Hard to Watch. We streamed 12 years over broken Wi-Fi in the kitchen, but I kept leaving the room. Black history is American history. These stories are for all of us. But do I need to watch a white man's version of my history? Narcissist self-reflection stirring up dirt, muddying perspective like the pregnant pause between Nate Parker's rape accusations and the birth of a nation. Nothing compelled me to attend the premiere of 50 Years of Butler with the Black Man in the White House. I couldn't see the forest for the trees. Whitaker, 2016, on the curb of 1600, light up a burning bush. They legalized weed in the district, but we could have had Bernie Sanders. I was born in the march like Selma, in shadows of our capital under the threat of capital punishment. Films about the civil rights era tend to get a spit shine, but I prefer my biopics with dirt under their fingernails. Boycott JFK. I couldn't sit through all the Black Power mixtapes, but those Nordic documentarians distilled the alchemy of our struggle. I sampled Angie Davis and switched back to Edward Thomas Hardy. Hassan Minaj just hosted the Correspondents' Dinner. And he wrecked shop in Donnie's absence, but watching Keegan Michael translate President Obama's anger in 2015 transcended reality for me. There were as many Africans drowned in the Atlantic from triangular trade as Jews lost in the Holocaust, but we had Obama in the Oval Office. Fact check that. Barack between two firms and Barrio dropping nigger bombs on WTF. Larry Wilmore lost his job for that shit in 2016. I always dug the concept, but was torn about what sometimes felt like high yellow respectability. Last year, he held up a barbershop mirror of our brotherhood to the edges on his closing line, but he scared off the white folks at Comedy Central. We were waiting on Key and Peele to make a film from season 1. I saw Keanu as black neutral on a clear day, like the sky over a lake at the family picnic, a flavor like clean water, cool, refreshing with no aftertaste. It went down easy, but I can barely remember. Dan Harmon theorized iced tea as a crystalline elemental spirit. What's cooler than being cool? I could never decide how I felt about Idlewild, but nobody would finish this essay if I said I'd never seen Friday. I ain't got a job, I ain't got nothing to do, and it's Thursday. I should see that shit again tomorrow. I really need to get some DVDs. You can find them scratched at Goodwill for a couple dollars each, or a better way to bootleg. Cumulatively, I must have spent entire seasons inside of movie theaters, getting drunk, fucking even token herb, waiting for the next token black actor to appear and often die. Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Can't remember which is which, blame the weigh-ins. Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood actually holds up shockingly well. Hip-hop remixing itself into a vision beyond the boundaries of our block. Shout out to Apollo Brown. I was blessed to see Chappelle's show at Lincoln Theater for my 18th birthday, and I knew something was happening that I could never lose. I saw myself on that stage as he laid on his back, gazed up toward the balcony. That spotlight shone like Dumbledore's mirror, illuminating the path I wanted most to follow. I went to see Slate based on a Facebook ad, tracking my interest and likes to guide whatever dollars in my pocket back home to the corporations where it apparently belongs. They had me cold. Do you ever feel that your phone may be reading your mind? Slate was a windshield clearing space for a black story not bound by whiteness or desperate to escape from it. We can be our own heroes. And demons with the mirror facing backwards, but both eyes on the road. I didn't want to write a think piece on Get Out. That shit was a cinematic essay. Jordan said everything he needed to say. Them crackers thanked him for taking their money. But we knew who the film was for. A musical jewelry box eerily playing out the shadows, reflecting on some gem that time may have forgotten. Do the Right Thing, The Invisible Man, Beasts of No Nation, Dogfight, The Wire, Go Tell It on the Mountain. Slivers of a broken mirror, pieces of our story. They called it bad luck, but we carry our history with us and it still cuts deep. I stare up at moonlight, down at the motion of light and water, discovering disparate elements of my own cultural composition. We human beings are made of water, slowly drying up over time till we all eventually crumble.
I didn't know you liked to get wet.
I went from bourgeois to homeless in the way of the Prince and the Pauper, a black artist in the cacophony, like Eric Andre. A black artist in the cacophony, like Eric Andre, destroying whatever I've set up around myself, broadcasting on the wavelength of a cartoon till the set returns to black, reflecting everything else in the room. David Bowie named his last record Black Star, and I wonder what Mos Def thinks of that. The first time I heard Sinead O'Connor, nobody told me whose song she was singing. Memory can be funny like that, but next time you're on YouTube, look up what Etta James did to Prince Rogers Nelson's masterpiece. A tear might fall in lucid puddles of the purple rain. After Obama, they in my rear view blurrily, so lit can even feel how the curvature of what a spear do, swerving me. I can hear you nerdily, and my ears do dirty. Masochist and the Marquist is prick sadistic.
Kill Yourself with Warhol Kaufman. Son of Razi. Shout out to Apollo Brown. Ninja, heads bobbing like Fisher. The kid disappears and you can search for a nigga getting bigger. M-Man wedding with her beneath light fiction till the mosquitoes bit more. Been bored, adored, ignored, then adorned with a head of thorns. Balladeer, martyr, enlightened Baudelaire, or more bullshit by the yard than a cow's lair. Shoot straight, high as a missile, ground to air. First date in the ladies' room went down bare. Oh, got over my ex, profound rare. Derriere, what I found there. Intra Doberman sex, no puppy love or bulldog. Give her by the pound care. Start small as my brown Karen. Grew like Grinch's heart after the sound of carols. Believe in thanks Steve and Joe. Oh, and don't forget about Carol also. I never waffle. Ironclad promise, kept them all though. Monogamous, hot as waffle iron. Ironer, we bond like ions. Sweet as bonbons, voila manger. Cry out like wassailers all day. Second lunar cycle, still our honeymoon, don't ring us. I'm all about that gold finger. Wore it on his little finger instead. Sex and go with matrimony. The abdomen said he forbade it. Verbatim. Cold denied it, not a problem. Ain't Nostradamus. Forgot a promise. For compromises, discarded slightly. Try and read, I don't. And it was written in the nigga's own hand. Here we go again. 8, 9, 10. Minnesota road stop. When I hold a slow stop. Digital recorder. This is what I offer. Longevity, fidelity, indelibly. Forever me. Respect the gold finger. Respect the gold finger, listen to the soul singer. Dope niggas, solo no more, nor a single. Hoes don't linger, talking about mumbles, go figure. Respect the gold finger, respect the gold finger. Listen to the soul singer. Dope nigga, solo no more, nor a single. Hoes don't linger, talking about mumbles, go figure. Respect the gold finger, all over town with that golden sound. I was holding out, found a 360-degree non-controlling spouse. Gave her something my mama told about. We been thinking, she slipped it on her pinky, no ice or rinky dink. Now I got a hand, son. Little finger, simple band like Hanson. Joe come up with Carol's old number. Every day I wake to the same face when the sun's up. Stay warm in the cold winter from August 9th on. I got that gold finger. California, where I've been trying to find before when dreams began, and how could I ignore them? Psilocybin, the compass rose, sanddial, sun through the hourglass, half-empty American bandstands, dejectedly faded static, blaze the day into the attic. Je compris comme ça, can't say I ain't an addict. Can't say I ain't an addict. Scattered topic, capitalism catastrophic, tattered pockets, panic, jobless, had a shoplift, fragmented arguments and rants, what happens, can we stop it? Scattered topic, capitalism catastrophic, tattered pockets, panic, jobless, had a shoplift, fragmented arguments and rants, what happens, can we stop it? Random conflict, had him talking unfounded gossip. Now he lost to compound the cost, calm down the cops. Seizure in search of malady, terror and tyranny come out of me. Inferiority ain't about to be the norm in disguise. A prison like dormitories, I wintered inside. Nigger and vibe, bigger than rhyme, never comply. Better as a catalyst, a trigger ready to strike. Likening under lightning when the weather is righteous. Skyline behind it, mics and silence, crime, violence, and wild spit riotous islands, hive and the tyrant, mindless demagogue, synapses firing. Semi-automatic offline, try and remember all, inventing God, incessant small constellations, context, nirvana, connected.com. Intense, the night's blacker beacon, whipper snapdragon speaking. Avec dunce. Mad Lab, grab your beaker, Grandmastered on the path beneath them. Addict, tweaker, and your sneaker ain't even half the massive feet. Print these tracks as deep in as we let them seep into the evening. California, where I've been trying to find before when dreams began, and how could I ignore them? Psilocybin, the compass rose, sanddial, sun through the hourglass, half-empty American bandstands, dejectedly fade the static, blaze the day into the attic. Je compris comme ça, can't say I ain't an addict. Love with you. Love with you from way back when. It ain't just about the rapping. Kinda confused, but my eyes are on you, and it's kind of a view. Kill Yourself with Warhol Kaufman. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. A man strokes his hawk in a restroom at a rest stop in rural Wyoming. Loves gasoline. I was just passing through. Sunbeam echoed off piss and porcelain, toilets claw-footed and twitching, breathing in the home of Matthew Shepard. Lord, shepherd me home. Baraka, don't come on to white girls in Wyoming. No worries. Saw a guy heaving over a urinal, dragging remnants from himself, voices gravel and boredom, pissing pennies onto tile, laughter in puddles of copper, a man holding himself like a champagne bottle, face wet as gunpowder, waiting for a celebration, kneeling like a deer beneath a tractor, beating himself off as penance. Thumbprints Ash Wednesday on foreskin, coming locusts and blood in apology, taking the Lord in his mouth. I am not worthy to deceive you, but only say the word and I shall be healed. Only say the word, calls to God. The word tumbles like an egg from his lips, spills into piss on linoleum, yolk crawls across floor like a 10th plague, and breathing turns to silence. To silence. One by one, men exit the room quickly, jealous eyes guarding treasure in the back of a cave somewhere, heavy-lidded foreheads creased like an old mattress or crumpled crush notes, shoebox vomits 5x10 photographs into the trash can in a corner by the window behind someone's tired eyelid they left. A hungry wind in their wake, tongue of stone and sap. 5 o'clock, morning towards Canaan, coughing up sand.
knee-deep in low tide, praying for patience, for any other failure than this, my own. A sound like Cain, walking alone, ringing a bell for his brother, his lost brother, his lost love, off in the desert somewhere he never wanted to be. Son of Cain and echoes off piss and porcelain. A sound like Abel crying out alone in his brother's arms. Knockout tonight, 6 p.m. doors. Mama said at the Knockout. Charity Pomeroy, Tony Zavala, Nick Scarpino, Mike Evans Jr., Kasim Bentley. Kill yourself with Warhol Kaufman.
People be like, Trump is racist, and he's orange. The Lazy Susan is a disrespectful piece of furniture. Pass your own butter, Gary. I don't have a dishwasher, I have a drunk Diane. That's not a microwave, that's my wife Karen sleeping with a... I thought my girlfriend liked cocaine more than she liked me. And I was right, because she did dump coke yesterday. I think it's ironic that Trump's son is barren and we all wish his mother was. I heard that ODB used to take a limo into the hood to pick up his welfare check, and then he would stop and pass out $100 bills to the kids on the sidewalk, which sounds cool, but they were mostly his kids, so it's not that cool. I was at Costco the other day. The main difference between Costco and a refugee camp is the savings. I was at Trader Joe's and the cashier said to me, 11:14. I told her, what is the ideal age of consent for R. Kelly for $200, Alec? She said, wow. I heard there was a shooting at YouTube, but I haven't seen the footage. They called the Golden State Killer. 30 years someone was murdering people all over California. 30 years. Who knew it was the police? Who could have predicted It was the police. Guys, I just want to tell you, if you see a beautiful homeless woman, she chose that life over you. I grew up middle class, but I worked my way down to poverty. Poverty is like quicksand. It drags you down. You can't build a foundation. The main difference is you can't suck and fuck your way out of quicksand. It's weird being black in America. Like, we don't get invited to auctions anymore. Used to get all the invites. Make some noise if you're racist. You know what I used to love as a kid? Getting my dick sucked. I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon is responsible for my bukkake fetish. You can't do that on television. I'm not gay. The way I know I'm not gay is every time I have sex with men, I don't enjoy it. I'm older than Jimi Hendrix, and I still can't play guitar. Eric Clapton can shred on guitar, and he can't latch a freaking window. Oh, yeah, I bet Eric Clapton's baby mom is really mad about that unplugged version of Layla. Some things are unforgivable. I used to live in West Oakland. They found a human head in the recycling plant 2 blocks from my house, which is messed up because that's compostable. I don't know if you heard, there's a lot of young black men getting shot while handcuffed in the back of cop cars, which makes me wonder, like, do police not watch Tarantino films? It's a lot of cleanup. Obama ruined the dreams of black children. I want to be the first black president. It's weird, it's like, you can tell Trump raped somebody, but it's like it doesn't count because he wasn't wearing a sombrero. I saw this church called St. Kevin's, and I was curious, like, I go to Kevin, I wonder what Kevin's been up to. And I looked it up, and apparently St. Kevin is most famous because some lady tried to seduce him, so he drowned her, and they built him a church. And I think the Virgin Mary was in on it because I saw her statue in the courtyard and she seemed like she knew something. She seemed really smug. I just realized I should stop calling my brother a motherfucker. I realized at a certain point that my grandmother was in D.C. for the entire civil rights movement. Next time I saw her, I had to ask, Grandma, what was it like? You were there for the March on Washington.
This is your father's foot.
You were there for the I Have a Dream speech. What was it like? And she said, oh, your grandfather was interested in all that. I'm actually really inspired by the civil rights movement. So much so I want to make a movie. It's a porno. We open on Rosa Parks going down on Mayor Grustin, who's got a black power fist up Malcolm's ass. Coretta's writing a speech, and anyway. I was at this bar, and the bartender leaned across and he was talking to these women, and he was like, but old ladies don't know what bukkake is. And I had to interject. I was like, old ladies know what bukkake is. They just remember it as Paris. So I went to the ball the other day, right? And this young white kid, he made eye contact with me, and then under his breath, he goes, my nigger. Yeah, a Denzel fan, yes. So I had like a multiple choice exam. It's like, what do I do now? Do I chase this kid down? Do I shout at him? Do I attack a child on security cameras? Do I go to prison? So then I figured out my secret weapon. I felt terrible for the rest of the day.
History of a book in the library furnace. I want to find a new story to tell about my mother. How her song some afternoon bent the light in our living room where she curled into herself to find the warmth of someone else's thoughts, soft covered, spine bound and stitched tight to keep it all together, and find home in the warmth of an oven, which held the bread she baked to feed her family, which always disappointed her, never quite came out how she intended. Cinnamon bread and gingerbread cake, banana bread, French toast, the first meal I ever, 9 a.m. Saturday, woke up to make myself and leave the kitchen how I left home, without a thought. My mother read to me, fed me stories, a banquet, a library. I still feel at home in libraries stuffed with stories, humming quiet in the side of me waiting to spill. She spoke proper grammar. Good evening, my son. Now allow me to carry you to your crib so you may sleep. No baby talk. Records alphabetized. The Beatles, David Bowie, Tony Braxton, James Brown, Carol Burnett, Irene Cara, The Carpenters, Cat Stevens, Tracy Chapman, Chicago, Eric Clapton, Bill Cosby, Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young, Mark Cohn, John Denver and Derek and the Dominoes, Dreamgirls, Bob Dylan, dozens, hundreds of 33s and 45s. My mother never Sam-cooked soul food. I drank soul through stereo speakers warm as the stove crackle of needles scratching wax. How my voice cracked when I told her I loved her, when I held her when her father died. And she sobbed like I sobbed. Against the mirror on the wood floor of my empty bedroom that night we left the house on Milton Street when some pit bull tore into my dog till all life was torn out of her, 'cause leaving home is hard. And my mother knew. Everything dies. Life is hard. Sometimes too long, always too short, and never fair. But this, my body, is mine. And I don't want to leave it here. I don't want to be a corpse in the dirt, an empty body like everybody, another dead tongue, a still heart. I want to be a language spoken on the lips of anyone who remembers me in this moment. I want to be a record. I want to be a record. I want to be a record, turning out stories of my blood, fam. So when I cut this new track, mark a needle in me and spell out the soul food song of the woman who lent me her voice.
Televised revolutions on the net. Only yet we witness it, connecting us, compose a threat. Overthrow the openness of poverty and hopelessness. Cover it with shadows of a mob tipping over stress. And they got the torches lit, progressive acting vocalists. Close the lips of those who only wish to keep on holding whips. Stolen chips are giving back. What be that? Sure would. Justice wears the face of us. Who be that? Third good. Butterflies are flapping wings off the banks of River Nile. And tidal waves of scene. Wash away the villain's vow. This is how we disembowel the belly of the beast. Another message from the east. I only hope we hear it loud. Let the wise man deliver to the salivating crowd. Thirsty for the end of hurt and fiending to begin to plow. Plant the seeds for the pupils raised in the way you're now. Present for the present state to never let it come around. And my, look at the times we living in. As blind eyes begin to see the vivid end. As time dies, a new era fit to begin. Let's celebrate the end and get it starting over. And my, look at the times we living in. As blind eyes begin to see the vivid end. As time dies, a new era fit to begin. Let's celebrate the end and get it starting over. Birth of a nation. Problems that they facing, shadowed by rejoicing tears, cry for liberation. Indeed, congratulations.
The world was Balboa's own personal ocean. And Balboa was drowning. For August Wilson. Used to wash his hands till they bled, as though to clean away the day's pollution, find ancestry within. Evenings found standing by open windows, clothed in stethoscope and ink, searching self in the night, waiting for a call of August to imply home. He lit a quiet match over the sink, heard death song of flame, resurrection of water and earth, proof the elements might coincide again. He'd search light for beauty. Took to duct taping his eyelids around 8 o'clock. They'll find me, he'd whisper. If you were interested. He'd tell of birthlight and candle fire. Grip a kitchen knife in your fist. Consider the blade. How flame can heal the way love is sharp. Remain silent. For days insisted. This too may be conversation. He would touch himself and meditate. I never saw him sleep. He was a messenger. Cradled stories in hand, like dying kittens suckling the earlobe of a stranger. Come to me in the green-gray hours. Walk the night as though truth were fragile and deserving of respect. One night spoke hours to a caterpillar. You are loved and beautiful. I have seen you naked, strong, winged, and holy in the embrace of an archangel. Have heard you sing truth back into conversation. You have walked in darkness overlong. Clothed in silk and light, you will rise. Knowledge hums inside you, seeking food. Do not fear to break. Consider the phoenix. Cruelty is fragile. If no one holds you, hold yourself. If no one holds you, hold yourself. If no one holds you, hanged himself from the Statue of Liberty. Drowned in the fountain of youth. Stabbed himself with a kitchen knife, slit his wrists with his tongue. He is searching for evidence of our existence, for a reason to believe. We are all gods and afraid. Kindness our only virtue. We are stronger than we know.
like, you know, you smoke or drink, come on, do this. I'm like, bro, cut it off.
Yeah.
Do you want the best side of me or not? They'll be like, take a tequila shot. And I'm like, if I take a tequila shot, I'll be throwing up everywhere. Is that what you want, or do you want me dancing and shaking my tits? Like, come on, give me what I asked for.
Yeah. Bring me a
I'm not
drink.
gonna make
Bring me a fucking
got
drink.
pizza rock and spray. No.
Yeah, I get it.
You want the tips,
I'm the same way.
where's the recipe? The recipe.
You're like DJing, it's the same way. People, you just want another drink. You don't want to talk about their weed, all that shit, and what song they want to play. That's all I want to do. Is like, yeah, you got a DMX. Oh, you're like, oh, fuck. The next guy comes up, he's like, Wu-Tang, you know? Like, everybody thinks that you only listen to what they tell you.
Yeah.
You know?
Just a request.
And they just can't wait. And then every time you see him, you make eye contact, and they're just thinking,
I usually listen to music.
and the next guy's Dr. Dre, you know?
Come on. I usually trust the DJs, except that one is good, maybe. Direction.
That's what the policy should be. I should have a policy with bumper stickers that says, like, don't tell the DJ a song that you want to hear, because there's a policy, if you say the name of a song, you can't play it the rest of the night.
Really?
It won't
Do you
play.
guys really do that? That's fucked up because I really want to hear that song.
Well, like, you
I
guys,
got it for us, I don't play anything.
see, what you guys already know is that you guys don't,
Like when I request Dancing Queen,
you guys don't play by
I'm
the
fucking
rules.
pissed. I would go back to the
You
fight
guys
like,
know the rules
bro,
don't apply to
you're
you
doing
at all.
that.
Like, just like you could walk into McDonald's right now and get 3 Big Macs for free, right now.
Where?
Let's go after the show. I'll show you.
Alright,
Get
let's
4.
go.
And those give you, sure, you know. It's how it works. It doesn't
like
work.
a woman
for
or like
everyone.
someone that hates us. They're like, you think you can have
Then just look at the Mexican serving the food. Be like that.
Kill Yourself with Warhol Kaufman. Letters from a lunatic in the ashes of evening. I'm told there's a flag on the moon. It doesn't wave. It hangs still and alone in the empty air, old earthen steel carved deep into crater. And I want to see it. Planted with strong hands and live footage for a nation of unblinking eyes, unthinking minds. I heard of love, with no knives and stitches, no wounds open and no scars, no crying in the dark. I heard of freedom, but I didn't believe it. 'Cause they said the Panthers were terrorists. They said protect and serve and cast a ballot. They said pray to Jesus, and they killed Freddie in his bed, set ablaze the remains of children in villages with names I've never heard. They told us we'd be safe if we only tithe and pay taxes on time, if we didn't ask too many questions, if we speak our minds quietly enough to be ignored. And my friends are so dumb. We think we can change it. We're so fucking stupid. We want to believe in anything, in a fucking flag not waving, still and lonely. So I want to meet God. I want to see that flag. I want to see it with my fucking hands. I want to taste more than my tongue, walk anywhere without treading on the skull and spine of another survivor who couldn't fight it anymore. I want to see a cherry blossom without imagining its ruined shadow on a broken wall in Japan. I'm searching the sky for diamonds that were never plucked out of ash by gloved hands of the Gestapo. Never pried from the fingers of a child's severed hand. They told me of the banquets, but all I heard was the ears of rotting corn dug up from the graves of plague victims in the years before our flags were sewn out of cotton, scraps of union, and blood of redcoats in the arthritic hands of a forgotten griot of Shango, of the Nile, whose milk flowed free and white enough to feed one baby, one spoiled infant, and quiet the starvation of his brother in the shed in Manhattan, in Delaware, Miami, Seattle, in places built on graves and named after warriors. I can't remember who I've killed. And I can't live an apology. Too many victims, and I never heard their screams. My God has her nipples pierced. She is walking from Birmingham to Montgomery, across the Mississippi to the missions, through Mazatlan, listening for the growls of panthers and gorillas, echoes of Sandinistas treading pathways through the Amazon. She is digging holes in Egypt, searching for survivors of My Lai, of Nagasaki, 9/11. She wears no uniform. She holds a trumpet in one hand and a razor underneath her tongue and leads her children from hatred to home. My God is lonely. She is calling us closer, begging forgiveness for this knife of love she wields. She is with me in the shadows and in twilight. I don't believe in her, but I'm hoping she's here so I can stop searching the sky for flags. I am asking her to open me, cut out my eyes, and plant this vision in earth that never, never, ever belonged to anyone. Still make a song cry. Chopping up classics like Sondheim on Alzheimer's, God through a dog's eye. Every rap is a ransom note for the mind of a small child. Diamond for an eye, a tooth for a dentist. Closed file called Geheim, a Bentley with bricks in it. Prevent me. They richer than Nixon and fixing and Nixon. We mixing the remedy. No contempt for contemporary Samuel L. Beckett rewriting the endgame manifesto from memory. Leaving marks on history. We all called to assembly. Kill yourself with Warhol Kaufman. Slit the throat of a lamb. Listen to her bleat and die. Slowly close fingers round her neck, round one leg, handprint healing blood laid out across an altar like a blanket. This is sacrifice. I'm a poet. Most days I know no one cares, this as it should be. Care for a dying tree, sleeping daughter, lungs heaving weak, liver rotten. Care for yourself as you do. Our words are not our power. 4 doves on a hill in Ohio fall before rifle fire as they cry out for peace. Praying for peace, a man stands before cameras and masses, waiting for the shard he knows will sign his name in blood on balcony. Hearing no sound but her mother's memory, a woman forces her mouth around the foreign language of her tongue. Color. It is not our words that are powerful, but what we mean, how hard we mean it. Whether anybody understands, understand. Who will speak your mind when they cut your tongue? Who will speak your name? July 4th, 1776, words on paper sent out across an ocean, birth of a nation across the back of Africa. 1493, Columbus, tales of wealth and gold he's never seen, launch an invasion, an armada of disease and greed, pours a trail of tears across the Atlantic. Renaissance Italy, Galileo is jailed for speaking on the nature of the sun. Ancient Greece, Socrates drinks hemlock, penance for an honest tongue. Somewhere in Europe, after the fall of Rome, swords and horses seek throats of Arabia to satisfy bloodthirst in a Bible verse, and righteous riots burst Third Reich shop windows like shattered hopes on crystal knock to enact the rule of law, 'cause y'all, those sticks and stones can break your bones, but words send soldiers to your home, 'cause in the wrong country, speaking the wrong thought can scar a bullet into the back of your skull. But we're protected by the words of the First Amendment in the Constitution of the United States of America. So I have the right to speak my mind right here, even though on most days I know no one cares. Shout out to Apollo Brown. Kill Yourself with Warhol Kaufman. An excerpt from Losing Time. The time traveler forgets his past as he enters a new future. The end. I have a friend named Bobcat. He's a character. How can I explain? The man spent a good chunk of the last few years on a mountain. By his own description, watching helicopter-clad sheriffs watch him tend several acres of marijuana crops. That's fine. He offered me a gig, but I couldn't forget that sound I never heard, rotors chopping wildly as a heavy-set older gentleman stared down over mirror-tinted lenses, mouthing a muted warning through artificial wind. As I sit, typing these words, I wonder what a world I would have entered had I taken him up on his offer. Two scenes come to mind. When I met Bobcat, he was the shiesty organizer of a local poetry event in rural Oregon. I was only passing through, and my crew observed with mildly horrified amusement that Bobcat was running a rather shady competition. Years later, he called me from a Washington State hotel room where he was hiding out from police and a girlfriend with a violent grudge. I pictured him huddled against the wall, staring out the filthy window of a balcony door and watching our son drop into the sea. He told me he lost 90 pounds of cannabis when the girl he loved called the cops. I've since heard a few more details to the story. Back then, I called my lawyer friend and threw Bobcat a couple pieces of non-legal advice. Where am I? At the moment, I'm sitting at Merchants of Reality, a particular point in time-space located in the San Francisco Soma in the United States of America, 2012. It is Tuesday, July 24th at 3:40 p.m., and I'm told the Sun and Mercury conjunct in Leo tomorrow. I believe, as do many physicists, that every decision made by particles in our universe splits reality and creates a branch in space-time. I also believe, which may be insane, that we can choose to travel at these moments of branching to other worlds outside of any known dimension. This is where our story ends. The Bobcat. I never offer him anything anymore when he comes around. The Bobcat prefers foods that are not available, often something which might almost be found around the corner up the street, but which today remains peculiarly absent. How are you doing? What do you do? Time traveler, hooligan, wastrel, drug addict. My friends are doing things now, getting their music in Super Bowl commercials and movies, making songs and videos I hear about from other people, people who have never met them, who don't know I know them. I appear on the internet now, my work discussed by people I've never met, never even heard of. This month I was written up by a hip-hop journalist I used to think was famous. People I know from school are appearing in newspapers and internet blogs for writing, for directing, for starring in television shows. Actors I learned acting from appearing in my favorite television shows, their books reaching #1 on bestseller lists, The Washington Post, New York Times. Once I saw my own record appear higher on a top 10 list than an album by an idol of mine. I used to think something about the opinion of critics. Used to believe winning an award meant something other than you made money for somebody. When I was 6, I wondered why we couldn't go back to the barter system. I live there now. Liquid, a fluid theory. From what I've heard, when I was 4, I almost pulled a boiling pot of spaghetti on my head. My friend SP told me this happened to someone he knows. The burns across his chest formed into scar tissue and a story for the ladies. I spent years reimagining and retelling myself the story, what had and hadn't happened. I reached up toward our stove, grasped the pot handle, stumbled. Water and steam tumble into the fire, which flares up and slaps down on me, collapsed to the floor. Hot metal, scalding water, half-cooked spaghetti, and the burned boy. Bill came in just in time to stop me. Baraka, no. He sat me down at the table and told me a story, then set the table and called my mother in for dinner, where they spoke about the office and the lawyers each had suffered through. It must have been the Tesseract, from a wrinkle in time which later allowed me to navigate a route back through that story. Entrance to a new saga, out from the distant stories of my father and kidnapping, a door cracking on its hinges with Terry on the other side and his screams from my mother to let him in. Locks, padlocks, hinges, braced locks I didn't know the name of, closing our apartment door even as no one was trying to get in. We received few visitors. My mother, the type of woman to sit at home. Privacy was a form of security, as was knowing we were poor even after we didn't have a right to be. At some point we entered the middle class. But upper middle or lower, or middle, the most boring and worst option within our suburban ghetto. Later, some of those kids would grow up. Wheaton became the town of Filipino restaurants, Colombian food, cuisine from Argentina, little shops, all of them, and wealthy, if not hip suburbanites might trudge across town for a quick bite. But growing up, there was only Wheaton Mall, and teenagers from the right part of town would hear parental warnings to stay away from the fights there. Once a boy was murdered in Pumphrey's Park for his jacket and his shoes, so people said. They changed the name. Every so often we'd hear stories of murderers just up the road or down the street. Not a dangerous town, just a neighborhood. A few Haitians, some Ecuadorians, Catholic schools, parks. I came to Catholic school in the 3rd grade. It was years before I had a black girl in my class. College years. I wore a uniform a lot growing up. These days, if someone says dress to impress, I don't show up. As far as I can tell, my parents spent double on my brother's high school education what they spent on mine for all of high school and college combined, and we went to a lot of the same schools, but I guess we always knew we were poor, and I know my parents worked hard every day, and maybe Bill Clinton did something right. I don't make money. I watch it move around me and rarely grab after it. I went to school with a lot of money, money that never learned to shower or who did the minimum to get by, money that did or didn't want you to know about it, private money, secret money, foreign money, dollars and yen wandering through the mall. I guess I don't know what money is. Growing up, I thought I was poor, thought I was in the city, waiting till I grew up so I could do what I want. Now, I do mostly what I want, and I realize I may have had more assets as a child than I would possibly hope for now. In other words, if you could go back far enough, you might say that I was liquid. Lightning Hawkins 1. I am an American hip-hop rapper. Here are a few stories. Yesterday, riding my bike through an unfamiliar neighborhood, I came to a peculiar intersection. As I coasted toward the light ahead, a red blinking hand-warning countdown switched to an unexpected familiar image. The brave, go-ahead, walking white man, creature of habit, child of society, civilization's son. We think we know what to expect. We've come to believe we know our universe most days, knowing something is good enough to make it true, but are any events unsignificant eventually? The other day, as I came to a crossing with my wife, we saw a woman laughing with a young man on the corner. When we approached more closely, we found the woman holding her bloody mouth and calling out for a lost tooth. We stood alongside her and her friend with a collective dazed expression. When we reached the other side of the street, we heard screams, the young man howling, "Oh, no, no, no!" While his friend shook left to right in confusion or disbelief, the five of us formed an incredulous lineup outside of the sugar bar. Someone struggled for words. He almost got hit by that car. A man stumbled drunkenly out of the street and into shadow. Millie stared onto the avenue at an event that had not occurred. My wife has a keen eye. Once she noticed from across the street an unconscious man with a bleeding head wound. This was a man who had been ignored by many average Samaritans as they stepped around the growing pool of his blood. The pooling growth of his plasma. The ambulance had trouble spotting us until I stepped from the curb to flag them down, but I digress. I meant to be speaking of space and time. In cities, it can be difficult to get any space. One time, we left town for a drive south. Turns out one of the things I married was the drive to Central California. It's not too far as long as you can see the coast. In this case, we headed down to San Diego for some reason, meeting a few new humans. We have the baby sickness. I guess I'm fascinated any time I get to achieve some kind of communication with a nonverbal creature. As if humans only used our words to lie. I sometimes think about going back to a better time. Used to feel I was born in the perfect moment, but what if everything wasn't already decided? If there wasn't a word for everything? What if you had to say what you really meant? From what I've read, there are only a few original alphabets. Once someone figured out we could communicate with writing, it wasn't too hard to agree on that idea. I got poison early on with the written word, not that I'm complaining. Still, we were on this drive down south, an arbitrary cartographic designation, heading down south in our blue monstrosity, and we crashed with a generous friend. She lent us a book we've since given away by a man named Lightning Hawkins. Holy fuck, we read.
Eventually, it is as we said it would be. Just a sheep in the sediment. Residuals. How many O's on your check? But did you know you can't take it with you to heaven? Climb the escalier and whatever the reverend must have said. I guess it was true. Truth for me, truth for eulogy. Check out your epitaph. What happened and you never laughed enough with your boo? In fact, damn. When you look back, it was all a scam. Hesitation, fucking with the Negro from enslavement to restoration and Jim Crow. Kept a nigga in limbo, red line and bank loan denial instead of signing. Bombing Black Wall Street, another sign of the times, and try and claim design of the gods. I'm finding it odd, work a couple jobs, suffer like the book of Job. Hard road and a crooked load, call it character acquisition. Bootstraps is fiction, when I rap they rap and listen. Full engagement, busting journals out, pulling pages. The arrival of them strange ships, make a treaty and try and change it on some lame shit. This ain't the aim we came with. Firearms and training while the law is mainly triage. By and large survival, whether you small time or buying cargo. Spotlight at the Largo, and in the clouds we all go. Cold as Fargo, Nemesis was an arch though it's senselessness. When will the burden lessen? Herb burning, we reserve a session. Jeff was less than an attorney in general, and I got more bars than your current 4-page sentiment. Mutants they send in sentinels, kidnap a senator and attack the general. Local elections as corrupt as federal, nigga. Cancel.
People all pissed and out of their minds and vomiting on themselves and all that. And now, you know what? It's us.
Kill yourself. Beast finna feast in peace, we can't rest. So we dropping Johns on them, let them know we got them bomb sets. Crisis like ISIS off of the head. Too plain like 9/11, was it something I said? Bumping the heads, never fronting when we pumping the lead. Military precision when he fucking the bed. Stunting the feds, unintended consequences, but they wasn't expressed. You wasn't nothing while you puffing your chest. Motherfuckers undercover, now you under arrest. Xenophobia, satellites and cameras over you. Cellular phone is bugged, low position zoning you. Data streaming in the day of the demon. Murder in the darkness, you waking up screaming. And you seeing, wait to believe it. Inebriation contemplating the meaning. Born in the morning where you make it to evening. Shout out to Odd Job. Young Marks. Rare lines with snuffle up against they old hat like Hufflepuff. Nigga journalism, HuffPo ain't up to snuffing up. Clinton stunned the hood, now we up to no good. Collapse your house of cards like Underwood. Chicks call him Thor, lay down a hammer, bring thunder good. It's understood. Moses brought the overpass. Cool Herc lit up the block with ruckus that was sure to last. Most deaths sound bombing. Whole rock the garden on Madison Avenue. Hard and truth, mad MCs knew a mic, get your fantasy mad at you. Like Ashley Madison, once anonymous hacked into. They never dropped the mic, though fiendish crack addicts do. Past the dudes, past can't stomach this attitude. No appetite or aptitude for platitudes. Pharmaceutical antidote for what an answer do. We relax and spit, y'all talking shit, reversing laxatives. We cruise like Zodiac on whackness in the midst. Death rules everything around me. Dream. Kill yourself. Young Marks. Odd Job. Dream Remix. This ain't no how-to, a production value, a haiku, big budget, high concept, exploding off the screen like John Woo. Go on, do what you go on, do. Monstrous on the level of typhus or a monsoon. Caught a leak in your pontoon. I got it, nigga, it's all you. Sick as if he caught flu. His heart wasn't in it. Popeye must have lost the buzz from spinach. In it, governor. Since back when his mother took an Inuit lover. I've been something in the way of things. Losing his mind, can't say a thing. Eating these MCs like Prater Willis. Left a nigga looking like he caught some skater feelings. Acting like it ain't appealing. Caught a prayer, you can't say he kneeling. Keeping the distance, for instance, intense sorcery. A simple invention, manipulating the elements. Hint of incense in the center, presence you can tell in sense. Cut out the bullshit, used to spit from out the pulpit. An audience is not the target, put down a hard bet. Who give a fuck? Sip a little liquid luck, lick it up. Vicious cycle of a lascivious cycle. No telling what a nigga might do. Not that I'm rude, I just ain't like you. Amendment said he had a right to a rifle on arrival. Clown in the hospital down, got pod like the Piper when he caught a sniper. Hyper, drier than a viper, buying diapers for a tight spur. Supposedly his light birth called me out on not caring. Fight them with a large bearing. Don't strain your heart swearing.
That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen.
You better flee. You better flee.
They said he couldn't. Wanted this since before Cosby went off his head with pudding. Holding him back like, nah man, you really shouldn't. Huh. Check, Young Marks. Snug window as the nugs dwindle. Shoulders shrug to your fucking face. Then dude, kinda like a thug. Mace Windu, puffing straight Indu. We do what men do and endure. Pregnant mom holding it down for a second tour. About to run out of herb, which I don't prefer. Seeking dew near to the reefer for his return to spoken word. Flies an open bird, joking more. Token to my life, a never closing door. Oh, for sure. Amazing lockdown in Amazon with this engagement ring. Wonder Woman invisible. Monogamy isn't divisible in the living room. Performing online. Modern urban Sondheim, never come with the wrong rhyme. Some MCs may even live a long time. You alright? Never know where a tale may go. Particles teleport several dimensions. There was never void. Dark matter make your heart shatter. Knock need and shart louder. Whoopee cushion fart powder. One-liners, sun shining. Universal unity of the one mind. Come find out sometime. Dunderheaded and dim-witted. Finna get paper like a regional manager and shifts kinship in the underground. Circuit chitlin' after a whole industry collapsed like northern Michigan. Without the light in your script, we dropping a plan that goes like this. Strong verse till a song burst from a long thirst. Audience hungry, crowd work hurts. Kept it Kurt Street performing a throng course. Buying morning light, rather getting that thong or a purse. You know you can't ignore me, right?
You better flee. You better flee. You better flee. You better flee.
MCs he degraded, tempted to be the greatest on earth from street to pavement. The emperor's seat is taken, enemies forsaken, centuries of Satan. MCs he degraded, tempted to be the greatest on earth from street to pavement. The emperor's seat is taken, enemies forsaken, centuries of Satan. Eventually till destiny, how many people wasted? Contemporaries faking, how many people wasted? When we awaken, best believe they sent for me contempt for the complacent. And the trees is blazing, canopies he raising, entropy need energy, the density be changing.
Ridiculed for unfairly playing as odd job, Phil Lang retorted, "Odd job owns you." Feel his ownage.
Young Marks, I'm the iller MC. You focus on irrelevancy. I got the devil in me, hella debris. Dick fatter than an elephant knee. Any city, ghetto, barrio. I'm wrecking harder though. Never had a low, no clip in a gap. We took it farther for the art form. We brainstorm, nigga, my heart storm. Bringing charm or leave him charred more. What's hardcore is raw porn. Bombing large words over your city like parkour. Nigga, I'm Shamar Thomas, you Shamar Moore. You coming harder with ardor, leaving martyrs, children, no fathers, mothers is broken hearted. For dollars and scholars, we study our charter tomorrow. I'm the illa MC. You focus on irrelevancy. I got the devil in me, hella debris. Dick fatter than an elephant knee. Long in tooth, focusing on the booth. These other MCs looking like romper room, tempted death, bring on the doom. Couldn't afford gold, he bronzed the spoon. No matter, nigga, Sarter knew. Graffiti on the Great Wall, split the difference, move west and skip the winter. I remember some shit them niggas said to me. Must have been a plague, lot of motherfuckers is dead to me. Dead to me, did the best I could in so many words. Drama become trauma, baby mama dishonor, price gear, and get hype years. Speaking and freaking, the weekend was weekend. I've been bleak to say the least, it's indecent to speak on. Dealing with shitty people who isn't equal initially and get to me. Eccentric, had $1, spent it, went down concentric. Pathology, perplexing, rear-ended, went through plexiglass. Respect to feminists, chilling in Maxie's pad. I've been out of alignment, that's what I meant. Where have I been? Broker than a hymen. Something came out of the blue, Valerie June, done it for the love of the salary too. None of the above when the calories few. Driven, but I'd rather we flew. Remember me, Valerie June. Everyone at Bowery knew who was new to the ballroom, but not to the crew. Drinks poured, you good, nah, I think more. Them city lights, dark shadows, and ink blots, neon lit women, whatever you think of. In the air was static. for the love of the salary too. None of the above when the calories few. Driven, but I'd rather we flew. Whatever we do, Valerie June, watching them bad astronauts off to the moon. Telecast was hella rad and sounded cool. Even if it's only a play, you can rule for a day. Valerie June, sloppy plot detail of a horror sequel. Can any man stall the call of evil? Believe all I need though, deliver me from people. Consider me a simile, willing relief close. Inebriated, alleviation faded, motherboard rated, all God's children punished for Satan. F. Campbell is Selma Blair, hella rare, seldom debonair, contemplative air. I beat death in a stare down. This world a massacre, fit for disaster, spit dope, flip motor backwards, till ever after. The clever bastard, lyrical genius, MC or a freaking master. Valerie June, legends rise and fall with the moon. All I could do, keep the music from ruin. Confuse Methuselah with the blues of a bruise and contusion. Rivals, survivalists, riot and violence, knife blood, rifle fire, plight a million, strife in the mire. Rise up, some crawled in a tar pit and got stuck. Never heard of her. Our civilization engulfed in murder. Soundbite in an image causing turmoil. Hoorah to the mushroom cloud. Shelter the bomb, only one thing to do now. Nets cast, send out a signal, message in a bottle, however you figure. The true nigga, too bigger, larger than regret. Bam knew ain't too much harder than his head. Some told a rumor and it spread so they can't forget. Something came out of the blue, Valerie June. Done it for the love of the salary too. None of the above when the calories few. Driven, I'd rather we flew. Everyone about renew. We was new to the ballroom, but not to the crew. Drinks poured, you good? Nah, I think more. Them city lights, dark shadows and ink blots. Neon lit women, whatever you think of. Portrait of a starving artist from the heart of darkness. Outfox a mic like Parkinson's. Blackout beyond comprehension. Galactic promise, Adderall consciousness. On broadcast like Tom F. Podcast. Surprising highlights and contrast. Experimentation beyond rap. Lost all the bombast. Conjecture with gestures. Gesture. No contract. Camera speeding. 5 with eye contact. One of the illest MCs that ever lived, never recorded. Their stories are heritage, pass them off as a clever kid. Oral tradition, niggas had mad felonies and did hella bids. Your boy on a mission, what it was, a wrong conductor on the bus. Plan went bust, some damn cop must have thought it up. As if I wasn't annoyed enough. Betrayal, much of a toy is love, honorable. Destroyer what? Motherfucker, undone the structure. Axis, switch one another, summon uppers, doorbell rang and begun to puffin'. Couldn't tell if the girls was thirsty or the broad was hungry. Portrait of a starving artist from the heart of darkness. Outfox a mic like Parkinson's. Blackout beyond comprehension. Galactic promise, Adderall consciousness. On broadcast like Tom F. Podcast. Nigga, kill yourself, deliver me, collective or individually. Limit how the signal peak, original as aborigines be. Agnostic, flipping words across it. Your industry need a diagnostic. They got trouble following, I lost it. Higher than the cost is, heads bobbing like Costas and Hoskins. Off the rails, Tony Hawk bitch. Maybe one day the nigga win to Tony Hopkins. Yes sir, heart swelling, pussy get stirred. Who had the last word? Cut him out the frame in the lane walk. More balls than baseball. Travolta and Cage couldn't face off. Toronto to Houston, wage all. Take y'all. MCs get tentative, wouldn't say more. Back Kaufman. They come and whack often. Colossal misfortune befalling winter to autumn. Beginning a former, take them apart, transformer, advanced warrior, Guantanamo camp torture, wetter than a waterboard order, unrecorded behind war borders, rarely heard further. Patriots act, forsaking the past, all hands on deck, taking the mast. She went down like a captain while he making her laugh. Any place on the map, Herb Gardner's raking in cash. She on top, he placing the ladder, sipping off a flagrant flask. Add another page of the masterpiece, blasting beat sheet, aching for a fast release. Grasp the sheets, surpass the catastrophe. Ask for me, surpass the catastrophe. Grasp the sheets, she aching for a fast release, blasting beats. Add another page of the masterpiece, sipping off a flagrant flash. She on top, he placing the ladder. Herb Gardner's raking in cash, and he placed on the map while he making her laugh. She went down like a captain while he making her laugh, and he placed on the map. Can a nigga finish his sentence? Going on like Ross Perot back in 94, or was it 92? The golden age, anytime will do. Anytime will do. Expectations was greater than degraded. They faded. He lifted standards of living. Any given place he was sitting with the wherewithal of a terrible tyrant. He might rant, let him know where I've been. He got obligations to rock, stage time or not. Any space he taking up, show me the MC who can throw down freestyle all day. I ain't even know my songs now. Ripping the bong while in Fog City. Spit that shit till all y'all in the yard with me. Hard hitting on a streak like Cal Ripken. Foul nigga in a loud town. Trying to tell him he ain't allowed now. Search history at birth's mystery. Full of mirth, mythical proportion. Kill plenty MCs. Now we leave them in contortions. As the situation worsens from snatching purses to a couple decades in a penitentiary. Kane had his citizens seeing well like Orson. Never understood till they really forced him. Can a nigga finish his sentence? Going on like Ross Perot back in 94. Was it 92? The golden age. We doing it for the archive and we are live. Broke though, I've already been monetized. They tossing ads all up on my life. Who owning the internet? Think on it, you didn't yet. Turning cougars to kittens, bluffing like who fluffing your majesty. The best photograph I ever saw of a chickpea was in Hustler magazine. Rappers is mosquitoes, we cooling on the ranch like Doritos. Cannabis, can the diss, mangling MCs like cannibalism. Banish a manacle, Mr. Monopoly, ogle through a monocle. Y'all just a carbuncle. American Idol is Simon, Garfunkel, one uncle. Nigga disappear like a darn particle. Farming, pharmaceutical, nowadays require an army for the robberies. Motherfuckers living challenging ways, shall we say. Deja vu, du jour, Dijon, or what's up with the Dejeunes? We doing it for the archive and we are live. Broke though, I've already been monetized. They're tossing on ads up all my life. Who owning the internet? Who owning the internet? Fuck Agipod. Kill Yourself with Warhol Kaufman. Y'all, that's pretty much episode 5, I believe. Thanks for listening. Oh, and one more thing. Kill yourself.
You know, baby, without being in it, you're about the best dealer I have.
Oh, is that why you come up here?
Nice. Yeah, I'm the boss.
Deliver me, collective or individually. Limit how the signal peak. Original as Aborigines be. Portrait of a starving artist from the heart of darkness. Portrait of a starving artist from the heart of darkness. Graffiti on the Great Wall. Young Marks, Warhol, Kaufman, Kill Yourself, Volume 4, Mutiny Radio. Mephistopheles. 1. We are here, if we are here, because of something that once happened on a train, or could have. A thin-stemmed iron nail point scrapes keef from off this grinder I was given as a gift with a coke dealer who owned a hookah bar, outside of which I met my DJ.
I never had a love to call my own.
Step into face blindly, this feeling is reminding me of the years I sat back silently, quiet, and those fears inside of me that school friends and society done tended to derive in me. It's hard to break down. Now I'm finding peace, hyperanalytically see for symbols that descriptively reach. Teach me to be found. Sounding slightly strange and sorted with this preacher cage normative. I'm cornered with this problem that I can't get around. Sorted tip, I meant to talk to you when you was around. But brown eyes blunted, red drunken said nothing. When I had left town, search for something profound instead of regret. That in my mind, but can't forget. So I'll ingest herbs, cigarettes, words, and Percocets. Cause relationships don't work with this hip-hop shit. Cause the lines through my body as I get boxed in. Manic masculine mentality done taste toxic. So I'll transmit this kiss across the internet you'll never get. This intimate side hides in 9th grade chastisement. I apologize for all my silence. World weary, but even queer theory can't break through this confinement. Desiring heavy to feel your weight upon. My rate I'm steady, but ready for what I'm waiting on. But stated wrong intent, managing form without content. Led to many complex days spent replacing thought with fragrance, which fades along with many conversations. And I debate songs to stay close to your placement. See your name on door frames when I'm waiting, thinking distance ain't magnified my infatuation. So erase this tasteless love song from your playlist, and I'll stay strong and face this facts that you want and you ain't coming back.
Yo, lost in thought, wandering a parking lot. Front doors stuck even though the car's unlocked. It's warm out, I embark upon a walk. Storm clouds form over my heart. It hurts, yes, I feel I'm worthless. The worst stress, fear I don't deserve much. Plus deserted, lacking purpose. My mind's contorted. DJ scratch the surface. I dig this beat, reveal what's beneath. Grit my teeth, hit repeat, begin to punish me. My failings derail, but I'm back on the track. It's Barack and the Well and Sam Sachs. I relapse when I can't relax. Fact check it. Friends left, I've been disconnected. cut myself off and feel rejected. Send a message, get no response, then resent it. I've emptied bank accounts and flashed of the last. Liquidated funds for liquor runs. Look around, who's mad at me now? You give me a pound, but exact that amount in flesh, like the merchant of Venice. I'm wasting my breath and it hurts me to spend it. Every letter's an asteroid collision in my system, leaving craters I'm still sifting through weeks later. And it's hard to identify why I said goodbye to so many that I wish I could have stayed with. No one seems to know me, only dreams console me. Loan me an ear for a moment of closeness. Hear this opus as a home for the hopeless.
No one seems to know me, only dreams console me. Loan me an ear for a moment of closeness. Hear this opus as a home for the hopeless.
Review the contents of my life. Remington suitcase-style typewriter, refurbished by a loud-mouthed, gap-toothed Chicago handyman.
I mean, they just shoot
Rollins
niggas
sampler pad
accidentally all the
404.
And you can't shoot a nigga accidentally that much. My gun just fell out and just went crazy, shot him 6 times.
Shot 6 times, explanation was accidentally. First was out of envy, second for racial identity, third for saving money for keeping in penitentiary, fourth for white supremacy, fifth cause I got hated me, sixth cause he's still breathing, chief, seventh I meant the mark was where the accident started. Got one running, send a squad to intercept what they call. Don't worry, chief, I guarantee he won't get far. Damn, what you mean? He slipped through the cracks. I'ma have your ass, bitch, that's your bad. Perpetrator got away, we can't allow his escape. Gotta cut off his mouth, and then the tongue in his mouth. We'll sprinkle crack on the bodies to lead away from authorities. Then plant them both with guns. Empty clip, so the shit will shit. But chief, what if the media catch a whiff of our scent? Come on, Bookie, they with us. We'll just call it an accident. This is the song of the phone. Y'all have not been forgotten. This is the song of the phone. Y'all have not been forgotten. This is the song of the. This is the song for the. This is the song for the fallen. Y'all have not been forgotten. This is the song of the fallen.
In border zones that boarding bodies, broken homes where metaphors are literal and gender roles must fit them all. Policed in prisons federal, sex defined by genitals, confined beyond conceptual medical bills, boxes and bathrooms, street beating, toxins and costumes, lost in lunchrooms looking for friends. Youth regulate lines, regulate like minimum, defending them space between her and him, pronouns pronounced with venomous sentiment, masculine feminine, other made celebrates, sexual felons, fetishized elements forced into selling, birthed into painful labor here. Queer kids kicked off the Christopher Street pier. Fears of migration making legislation take on more incarcerated natives of this nation. Gendered spaces make them hated. Monolingual education, borders debated. Stone walls instated. Connections cross semantics. It's transgender, transnational, and transatlantic. Y'all have not been forgotten. This is the song of the fallen. Y'all have not been forgotten. This is the song of the fallen. Y'all have not been forgotten. Y'all have not been forgotten. Y'all have not been forgotten. This is the song of the fallen.
Blood spilled, bloods crippled and killed. Strip malls and landfills are symbols of guilt. Marketing martyrs like Martin King. Sell out descendants, yesterday is forgotten. Count our blessings by the graves of the fallen. Tomorrow's restricted, so like property. Apologize for genocide, already spent the profits. Hypocrisy of the presence of giving, like smallpox blankets presented to thankful children. It's how we're living. Still, man, a blanket statement. But pilgrims couldn't make it past December if they hadn't been aided. Later, federal aid is taken from reservations. AIDS in Africa's okay. It's an absent, it's only education. Don't get thrown off like corpses from slave ships. All related like our races after master raped our ancestors and enslaved the babies. Y'all follow rap like the North Star's halo. I train my thoughts on this track like the Underground Railroad. Y'all have not been forgotten. This is the song of the fallen. Y'all have not been forgotten.
Not been forgotten. And we're always in line. Y'all following after. Y'all following after. Cause we're following after. Y'all have not been forgotten. And we're following after. This is the song of the fallen. Y'all have not been forgotten. Y'all were always in line. Y'all were following after. The song of the fallen. Y'all have not been forgotten. Y'all have not been forgotten. And we're
Kill yourself.
Check. Another one. What it is. Trade agreements, world centers, false free, farmlands, rates and fertile, full seed, depletion of ozone, holes, grow like headphones, hold on young folks, read it. Cold cuts through bones like the deli meats you eat, season semen out of sorts like salt and sweetness, corn grown and brown, deader than ambient sound to a fetus, carbon clouds without a view, what God is seeing, mausoleums from the past, from the evening news broadcast, guerrilla monsoons, target, the song list, I'm on this planet and I'm seeing many men make up this garden, hell being eaten, elitist ethos are feeding, libidos heated for breeding, we go with heathens from meaning, keep those defeated from dreaming. Now we see suicide genes and seeds from companies killing green that seem to be grim reaping, sorted safe to save themselves. And corporate meetings in cages, cracked and blown like coke drug dealing, cola killing citizens in South America, revealing doubts about how innocence took routes to scheming. Check the beginning of our own young, broken stealing. Now some hope for feeling, cause there ain't no hope for healing. Stealing, rising underneath your feet, made of concrete, wielding words or weapons used to blast and speak. Drastically, society will end and repeat violently. This be that cycle and swirl, yo, cause it's the battle cry for the end of the world. So
the battle cry for the end of the world.
Sound the call. That world governments fall like Warsaw and them cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Warlords transported in corporate cars.
Y'all saw the carnage and forgotten. Sound the call. That world governments fall like Warsaw and cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Warlords transported in corporate cars. Y'all saw the carnage and forgotten the cause. Sound the call. The loud silence of the end of the world. Murder, man, abort your kids, render women sterile. Treaties tear narratives, miscarriage. Destinies manifesting clerical errors. Parents embarrassed of their heirs and parents. Scared of terrorists, share complaints and compare inheritance. Children of Puritans forget to mourn for the millions murdered. Long as nothing's wrong with your little daughter. Yo, begin the slaughter of bottles of corporate water. Products so important we important to store it. Overdrawn our resources, polluted, exploited. Before we colonize the world, sort of London from Europe. Contracts don't work, resort to extortion or worse. Profit margin short and get to reserve in a hearse. Napalm, A-balls may fall as planes rise. Rape wives and take all they lives. Give a child a day job in this sweatshop. Slave songs change to hip-hop. You can't stop this like the apocalypse.
Governments fall like Warsaw in them cities of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Warlords transported in corporate cars.
Yo, saw the carnage but forgotten the cause.
Sound the call.
Sound the call.
That world governments fall
like Warsaw in them cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Warlords transported in corporate cars.
Y'all saw the carnage and forgotten the cause. Sound the call.
Sound the call. That world governments fall like Warsaw in them cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Warlords transported in corporate cars. Y'all saw the carnage but forgotten the cause.
Sound the call.
Sound the call. It's magical.
Wants a love song, I write an opera, all in her honor, the cause of the follow. I wanna talk to her, but she's so far away, I don't know how to say she should stay. Dad wants a love song, she's up and gone, so I'm on to the next, but I can't forget. We all get hung up on cell phones, hell no cord to strangle with, it's a tangled existence. I want a blowjob, but can barely get a phone call. Yo, does that sound so hard? I wrote a dope song, something's wrong with the way I spit, maybe it's the audience. I'm somewhat demanding, I goddamn sing the wrong song, alright, but I go all night long, and from where I'm standing, I've gone on long enough. You understand me, but y'all, I'll write more. I'm lonely as hell, my phone is a cell, no one seems to want me around. Throwing back rounds at Jack spit around, somehow forgot food, my head's splitting now. Free fall, plummet to nothing and someone busting. We all wanna be someone, I'm on a bus trip to New York, the truth hurts, I'm too short, broker than most folks who work or do dirt. I wanna beg you to stay in my bedroom, that's rude, I wouldn't do that, but it's really too bad. Maybe it would help, who the fuck knows, let's go to the West Coast and let go. I won't hold back, no. I was born with a core around my neck. Everybody left the room and the worst was expected. Son of a pessimist, seeking recompense. Somewhat restless, my love is something like presumption. It's a fucked up love song. Come on, I wanna come on you. Come on, boo, where you going to? It's your fucked up love song. I want you, but you're gone. What the fuck am I gonna do? Dad wants a love song, a love song. Where'd you go, baby? Come back. It's not that Dad wants a love song. Wants a love song. Oberlin is cold. Dad wants a love song. I love you. I love you. I love you both. Dad wants a love song. Love song. Love song. Nice curves and kind words I pop from my girl, and I work to deserve you happily. Actually, I would rather be in your gravity than seek a course quoting any mediocre media. Dad wants a love song. I write an opera, all in your honor, the cause you to follow. I wanna talk to her, but she's so far away. I don't know how to say she should stay. Dad wants a love song. She's up and gone, so I'm on to the next. But I can't forget, we all get hung up on cell phones. Hell no, cord to strangle with. It's a tangled existence. Fuck what other people do, 3 is better than 2. Fuck what other people do, 3 is better than 2. Fuck what other people do, 3 is better than 2. Fuck what other people do, 3 is better than 2. I'm somewhat demanding, I goddamn sing the wrong song, alright, but I go all night long. And from where I'm standing, I've gone on long enough. You understand me, but y'all I'll write more. Fuck what other people do, 3 is better than 2. It's your fucked up love song, come on, I wanna come on you. Come on, boo, where you going to? Your fucked up love song, I want you. I want you. What the fuck am I gonna do? Dad wants a love song. A love song, Dad. I love you. Dad wants a love song. A love song. Come back. Move to California with me. I can't forget you. Fuck what other people do. Excessive regret, used to cheat, disrespected my ex. Expect contempt is complex to express. I resent that I can't ever repent. Condemned to get remembered for events I'd rather forget. Have to admit, I want a child but can't begin to commit. I've lost friends, but self-pity and hip-hop ain't really legit. Still I fantasize, can't deny I'm my daddy's child. Ever since I was 5, it's like I can't decide. Overactive eye, but I'll strive to keep my balance while I pray to never wrestle with infanticide. I don't wanna keep with monogamy or misogyny. Here's my apology, I fall between. Not fond of either. Passive aggression, I'm manic depressive. Can't handle the pressure, get frantic. Send panicky messages, yes. Melodramatic with rather excessive polyamorous tendencies. Can't always manage my temper on a tired night. Why must we fight? I get kinda wild and quiet, but you try to smile. Meanwhile, I like to hold back. I know that we're both so fragile, and I wonder why I can't lie by your side. Starving martyrs retrace signals they could never dream. When heartless darkness follows echoes of our partner's scream. I feel it rising up, the Holy Ghost in a machine. She's blind like justice and would never trust a human being. Taken for granted where I come from. Most times for the miles of granite, keep my heart sunk unable to be lifted. Blown these wishes on, these gifts are formed, but there's a part of me. See, they've pardoned me without sentencing now. Claiming you was startling. Most academics find you menacing.